Yeah. But yeah, that is the show structure today.
Well, I don't like it.
Well, you should have said it when I asked who
bad.
fucking liked it. And now we're starting the
I just
show.
always agree to things.
Hello everyone and welcome to Sort of My Podcast. My name is Vincent Herman, Vin the Human, sitting to my right.
James Odell, Alpha Spectre.
And right across the table from me,
Bob Collins, Boba Fett.
Unfortunately, Dr. T. Neal will not be joining us tonight, but where you can join us is on our Sort of My Brand page or our news page, Sort of My Comics on Facebook. Subscribe to Sort of My Brand on YouTube and follow Sort of My Podcast on Instagram. You've got to be listening to this somewhere. While here, why not like, comment, and most importantly, share. It is the only way to get us out in front of people. And of course, all our personal social media is down in the description below. Boys, we have been busy lately, have we not?
Holy shit, we've been busy. I don't know if we can talk about what we've been so busy about.
We can't really go into much details. We're talking about some rebranding. We're talking about a few events coming up. I think we talked a little bit about what we've been talking about in the last episode.
See, we didn't name any names, but I don't know what all we actually dropped information-wise.
Well, one of the things I'm talking about is the fundraiser that we're going to be doing coming up.
We did talk about that. We've kind of worked more on that.
And I think we could say, no, we can't even say where it's going to be or when it's going to happen because I haven't sent that email yet. But yeah.
But what we can say is that we officially have a sponsorship. Can't really.
We can't elaborate on.
We can't elaborate on it,
yeah.
But we officially have a sponsor. If you guys, hopefully in the next episode, we can actually elaborate. I believe
hopefully by then we've gotten the return email. They've gotten back to us and been like, "Here's your schedule for interviews," which we're going to be doing on an official capacity.
It's pretty much ironing out details.
Yeah, we're in the ironing stage.
So there's a juicy bit of information for you guys to make sure you tune into the next episode.
Oh, yeah.
To find out exactly what's going on.
And of course, watch the Sort of My Comics Facebook page.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's going to go on there for sure. But yeah, we're also going to start going live. I think we can talk about that now. We're going to start doing these podcasts live. We didn't with this one because there's still a little bit of stuff we have to figure out for it. But that's mostly on my end on the tech side, figuring out where we want to record it in Sort of My studios.
Not only that, but I think it's also something you have to handle yourself of stumbling over your words.
Well, yeah. I think I'm going to do a lot better. I'm not drinking. I'm officially announcing I'm not drinking as much on this podcast. I got the tiniest little bit of whiskey sitting off to the side here. It's not going to be 4 or 5 beers during the course of recording. It's not a full
gallon. It's only a half gallon.
Yeah. So anything else you guys want to talk about before we jump into the news here? What have you guys been up to? Bob, you haven't really been here.
No, I just do guest appearances from time to time.
Yeah.
I've been reading a lot, actually.
Oh, yeah?
A little bit of new stuff, mainly a lot of I have a lot of hardcovers and trades and stuff, especially from Lexington, or Oda will hook me up with some stuff that he gets in a big bundle pack and he has multiples of. I'm in the middle of reading Grant Morrison's Batman R.I.P. About to start Morrison's run on Animal Man, which I've always heard great things about. I'm White Knight, Batman White Knight's great.
So good.
I still gotta start working. I've gotten an issue and 3 pages in.
It's all right. It's okay. Yeah. I'm saying it's all right. It's okay that you haven't read it. The story, fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
It's one of those stories. It's like Klaus. Once you finally get around to reading it, you're gonna kick yourself for not reading it sooner.
Well,
I understand why he didn't want to read Klaus right away, because he wanted to keep it with the season.
I had a system I wanted to do it in. I'm very pedantic.
That should be a Christmas tradition from here on out. We just read Klaus.
Yeah.
You know what? Since I'm the one who picks up your comics for you, I should just hold your comics ransom
until you read.
No, because issue 1000 is about to come out. I swear to God, I will storm Castle Odell if that happens.
They won't be at Castle Odell. They'll be hidden in a strategic location.
You'll have moved it. Oh, God.
There'll be a storage container somewhere off the coast of fucking Panama or something. Other than that, I've been I've been watching Supernatural. I've been watching.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to fucking get through Jessica Jones. I just can't get the time. It's not that.
Yeah,
it's...
I've been watching it too. I put it off to get caught up on other shows, mostly because it's there. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about it. But
also, just started this really cool like South Korean horror show that's on Netflix called Black.
Yeah, you were posting about that, weren't you? Yeah.
So far, it's really good, but I'm only like one episode in, and there's like 18 episodes, and they're anywhere from like an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Like, it's insane, dude. I love South Korean horror now. Ever since Train to Busan.
Still haven't watched it. It's on the list.
North Korean
horror. A lot of fucking things.
North Korean horror is a little too real world.
Right. Well, it was good getting updated on you, Bob, but let's go ahead and update on some stories that we've covered in the past few episodes. Just real quick, because we did talk about the rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and the character descriptions a few episodes back. Go check that out. I think it was like 33, 34, something like that. But we finally got the trailer for this thing, and
the cringe-worthy trailer.
Yeah, and it's definitely Teen Titans Go. It's definitely TMNT Go.
Yeah. Like I said, there's a few small details I'm like, that's interesting. Which is like each one of the turtles are a different species of turtle. They've changed the weapons a little bit. I don't know if you noticed that.
I noticed it a little bit, but it like... I mean, I get it. They're trying to do something new, and this is what we said. We're not going to harp on this too much because this is what we said in the last one. They're trying to diversify it, which is fine. They're trying to change it up, making Raph the leader, which I don't know.
And kind of jokey and laid back. I'm not digging it.
Yeah, and I don't like how they're not very well trained because they're buffoons in this trailer. Is what I'm getting.
John Cena says so. Yeah,
if John Cena says 16-time WWE champion says it, must be true.
It has to be true.
But I really don't dig this. I don't think I'm going to check it out. I can't believe they got rid of that wonderful, great show.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I was saying off mic was, why get rid of a show that has a huge following, huge fan base, and apparently, and I've only seen episodes here and there, but especially from what you've said, is a great show, great storyline.
I started buying the DVDs for my son because he started getting into Ninja Turtles, a little low grade, not as much as I prefer, but whatever. Started buying them, and then I started watching them with him. It quickly became one of my favorite fucking cartoons on TV at the time, and I love it. Well, good.
Like we just said, look at what they did with Teen Titans. Teen Titans was all around wonderful show.
It was an amazing show.
And then they turn around and put out Teen Titans Go.
Pizza and fart jokes.
And that's
really what it is.
And
that's
pie.
a little different.
And don't get me wrong, like Teen Titans Go, I've come to appreciate little things about it. I'm like, I see the audience they're going for, because you look at anything else on Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon, it's all the same stupid shit. So I see they're looking at dollar signs, but and I said it I think before in a way early podcast. There's little Easter eggs in the backgrounds and stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's little things I grow to appreciate, like they had Carrie Kelly on an episode here and there. But all in all, I would get rid of every fucking bit of that for one more episode of the original Teen Titans.
Exactly. And at least with those two, there was a little bit of a gap in between. But with this, they're immediately switching gears. The show ended not too long ago, and then boom. Hell, they announced this before the other show was canceled. Yeah.
Right. I don't see the point.
Yeah. There really is no point. But there is finally a point for me to get YouTube Red. And I swear, I'm gonna be getting YouTube Red. I made the decision today just for this. The new Cobra Kai trailer is out. And I know. We talked about the new Cobra Kai trailer in the last one, but this is a full trailer. This actually gives us some idea of what we're getting into, and I'm sold.
I have been very reluctant about this. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the Karate Kid movies.
Same.
I have enjoyed them. I still remember watching them for the first time. Obviously, not when they first came out.
Yeah.
But the first time I watched them, I'm like, I want to be that. I want to be that.
I can wax on and wax off. I can do that, right?
Like, I want a Mr. Miyagi. But here we are. We're older and all that, and this comes along. And I'm like, another remake, another rehashing of something I used to love. That's just going to be meh at best.
It's going to be disappointing.
And then this trailer comes out, and I'm 100% on board.
And I love how this furthers the role reversal. We talked a little bit about that in the last episode, but this one does a much better job of painting Danny as the protagonist. They make him an asshole, basically.
Yeah. And honestly, we said this off mic as well. He kind of has always been that way.
Oh no, I was just making.
I've always felt the fact that like,
really?
yeah, I have.
Well, I thought he was whiny and it needed to be put in his place, but I feel like after Mr. Miyagi did that, he leveled out and he became a little more level-headed, and you definitely see that in part 2, Karate Kid 2.
Karate Kid 1 is the only one that really matters to me. I watched Karate Kid 2 multiple times.
I love 2.
But it just felt like, I don't know, it just didn't feel the same to me even at that age. And then you have Karate Kid 3.
3 sucks, and I think the next Karate Kid is better than people give it credit for.
Right?
Yeah.
See, I enjoyed that one because
I think it's better than people give it credit for, but it's not great. Yeah.
But yeah, going back to what you're saying, I love the fact that the roles have switched in this.
And I think it's going to get a little deeper, too, because obviously you see it starts out Danny's just a dick. But I think what's going to happen is that after Johnny has his little Miyagi moment where he beats up these kids that are beating up this nerd, Danny's going to see that as Johnny's the bad guy. So maybe he's going to start seeing what he's doing is the right thing to do, but ultimately he's just blinded by hubris and what he thinks is right, and he's still the asshole.
Well, and just in this trailer, like, I can honestly look at things from both sides, like from both of their perspective.
Yeah, definitely. Now, one thing I wanted to point out is it looks like the Cobra Kai students are your typical Cobra Kai students. Bunch of misfits, a bunch of like Modge Podge of downtrodden losers, which I can get on board with. I love that. 80s.
Did you catch the skeleton costume?
Yes, the skeleton
nice
costume.
Little callback.
I'm really excited to find out how that comes about. Now, was that the main kid? The kid he saves from the bullies, or was that Billy Zabka?
No, it looked like that was the main kid.
Okay. I thought he was a little too skinny to be Billy Zabka, but, dude's filled out a little bit over the years. But
that chorus is taking a toll on him.
Right. Now, another cool thing that they're going to be doing for this is in over 700 theaters, I think it's April 25th that is coming out. They're going to be showing the first movie again and the first two episodes of this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so that's a really cool way.
That.
By the way, if you want to grab tickets for that, those are actually on sale this coming Friday. So I would definitely
I bet
grab
Ashland participates.
Or actually, no, they went on sale this last Friday. Yeah. So get them now.
I'd be down to go watch it if Ashland does wind up.
They usually participate in little things like that.
Yeah, I think it's on a Wednesday. So
yeah, okay, no, we won't be able to do that.
I don't think we can do that one. But that would be cool. If it's not on a Wednesday, we should totally do that. But if you can do that on a Wednesday, I'd say grab your tickets now. Get it done now because they've been out for a few days. Okay, so moving on from this, let's go ahead and dig into this group photo of a movie we're never gonna get. Did you guys see this?
I saw it before I even knew it was going to be a topic.
Yeah.
But the only place I've seen it on was CBR, and I haven't been able to enlarge the photo or anything, so I haven't really been able to see it in detail whatsoever.
Well, I've got it here. Okay. So let's go ahead and check this out.
And what photo are we talking about, Vincent?
We are talking about the group costume photo from a movie from back in 2008 called Justice League Mortal. This was supposed to capitalize, I think, on Superman Returns and whatnot, even though they were doing recasting across the board. But in this photo, you see the costume that would have been given to DJ Cotrona, I think.
The Superman?
Cotrona,
yeah. He was a Puerto Rican dude that actually, he looked really good for the part.
Yeah.
I looked up photos of
there are other photos of him in the costume when they were doing costume tests. But the only actual cast member in this photo is Megan Gale as Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can see here. Well, we've got Batman,
which would have been Armie Hammer. Which
would have been Armie Hammer.
I think he would have been a good Batman.
And I'm digging this kind of armor plated look here. They've got the elongated ears, which was an interesting choice. The Superman is very interesting because they've foregone the underwear and they went blue boots, very similar to what recently happened in the comic books, where it was blue boots with the red lining.
I don't like it.
No, I didn't like that costume in the comics.
It needs a little
either,
red. It needs a little red.
But it is very interesting, and the S is actually connected to the cape this time around too. Yeah, kind of. They had these DC action heroes toys
Yeah,
for a while.
I know exactly
it
what you're
looks
talking about.
very similar to that.
Huh.
Flash is pretty cut and dry.
He kind of looks like the '90s show Flash, just from this picture.
Yeah,
here.
a little bit less bulky, but
Yeah.
Aquaman is again pretty cut and dry, a little similar to what we got now.
With the hook hand.
Oh no, I didn't
hook
even
hand?
notice that hook hand. Yeah, yep.
Granted, he
There's a
doesn't have
hook
the
hand.
beard from that same from the '90s.
No, I was talking more of the. Actually, you know what I'm thinking of? I'm not even thinking of recent movie. I'm thinking of Injustice: Gods Among Us. That little shoulder plate thing that they keep putting on him in that game. Wonder Woman. They could have done something different with that skirt. A little weird.
Yeah,
but
I was saying,
again,
honestly, the top looks good. The skirt looks like
got
a
the tiara.
loincloth.
Now, all right, let's not talk about this one yet.
Okay.
Let's talk about Green Lantern first. Green Lantern is just disappointing. It's
This
just
was
a leotard.
before the movie, correct? Before the Green Lantern movie.
Yeah.
That almost reminds me, like, that almost looks like a Sinestro. Like, just
kind of.
just the way that his outfit was. That looks more Sinestro-y than Hal Jordan-y.
Yeah. Ultimately, though, it's just a leather leotard is all it looks like with maybe boots. I don't know. But let's talk about Martian Manhunter.
Yeah, you brought it up before. What's your problem with Martian Manhunter?
Holy shit, look at how deformatively bulky he is.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
His triceps are sticking further out on the back than his biceps are.
Right?
Have you seen Mad Max Fury Road?
No, not
Okay,
yet.
well, never mind. He's actually in Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh, good point. Yeah, I don't know.
Same director.
The pecs also, they look like this combination of stuffed and flabby.
They do. He looks like he has moobs,
Yeah.
but they look very firm moobs.
Like a super ripped six-pack.
Yeah. And instead of going cone head shape, they just made his forehead jagged. I don't know what's going on here. The costume itself, the blue cape, the collar, all that, that's on par. That's good.
That's what I thought you were complaining about at first. No. That or his height, and I was going to let you know, like, he's kneeling. That's not his height. He's not midget manhunter.
Ultimately, just like, and there's a great video on YouTube from a channel called Cut Short. I highly suggest checking it out.
I love Cut
where
Short.
he goes into great detail about what this movie was supposed to be about and stuff. The movie story sounds pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah.
It's really cool. But looking at these costumes, I'm torn. I don't know if
they may have dodged a speeding bullet on this one.
And really, the only reason this thing got put down was because the writer's strike.
The writer's strike, and also they were doing the majority of their filming in Australia because they get a hell of a tax cut. And then apparently either laws changed or something where they would have had to pay a lot more.
Yeah, they raised the taxes or something.
A few years ago, I was on this big kick on like checking out superhero movies that never came to be and why they didn't come to be. That's why I like that channel so much that you mentioned.
Yeah, Cut Short really grabbed my attention to that. But yeah, I think it's best we probably did not get this one.
Well, if we would have got this, we wouldn't have the great DCEU that we have now, Vincent.
Well, maybe they should revisit this one.
They might think about this one again.
Moving along.
We took a wrong turn there. Yeah, moving along. Let's talk about Atari's brand new console. You know, the Epic Gaming company that's been dominating the market for like what? 80
You're talking
years?
about you're talking about the nostalgia style T-shirt market. Correct?
Yeah. They're all
that's
over.
really the only market that I can think they might be.
Nostalgia's like that weird uncle at the party. Like
the one that
he's
you don't,
always
you don't
around.
drink anything he offers you.
Well,
and you never sit on his lap. That one.
Well, then why the fuck are we gonna watch Cobra Kai?
We're talking about his brother. We're talking about the one that you know's there, and they're always doing something, but you just never pay attention to them because they just kind of blend in with everything.
You have some weird uncles.
Yeah, great metaphor there, Alpha Spectre. Yeah, Atari is actually coming out with a new console titled Atari VCS, and I guess this was actually a feature at last year's E3, but it went totally over my head. I never heard anything about it. But yeah, apparently this thing is going to feature 4 USB ports, an SD card slot, HDMI output. It's going to support original Atari cartridges, but comes preloaded with Atari Classics, and is going to have current titles from a range of different studios. It also boasts 2 controllers, one similar to an Xbox controller, and the other is more like the classic Atari joystick. And it also supports streaming and social media apps.
So essentially what it is one of those like third-party consoles that you can buy that already come preloaded with all the games, plus have new game, like plus you can take cartridges, and then they also added in like
internet.
Well,
yeah.
Apparently this thing is kind of falling somewhere in between Valve's failed Steam machines and the newer NES, SNES classics that have been coming.
I would have bought a Steam machine if we can get like another Half-Life and.
Well, that wasn't necessarily the problem with those, but
I don't care. I would have bought one as long as you give me.
That
those
was
two
the
games,
problem for you. But
Still
yeah,
a problem.
Early reviews are actually kind of wondering who the hell this console is for. I mean, it's coming straight from Atari. This is coming from the Atari company.
And I thought Atari got bought out.
Yeah,
I
don't know who owns them right now, but I want to say Microsoft. Yeah,
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm like 90% sure.
But yeah, this is mostly going to be like game streaming rather than like, here's the newest Atari game coming out. You're not going to see new cartridges come out for this thing.
Aww. It's the only reason I would have wanted the VCR or VCS.
So what do you guys think about this? Would you pick it up? Like, is this...
Odell probably will. Odell probably will, because Odell has just about every console that's out.
Yeah.
That's fair. But it really depends on the price point.
I think early projections are saying like $200. $200 upwards of maybe $350.
No.
Okay. For $200, possibly. And that's a big possibility. Like, I'd put a pre-order on it and make payments on
Depends
that pre-order.
on the details of these features, like how many social media apps, like what games are going to be downloadable.
More along the lines of like what's going to be downloadable, what is it actually going to be capable of?
Because we all have our Netflix and Hulu systems and stuff. Like I watch everything on my PlayStation 4. Like I don't need this for that, but I do have a shit ton of Atari cartridges, and I have a working Atari console, but.
That would probably be the biggest like pro for me would be.
Yeah.
I have Atari cartridges. My wife loves old school game consoles, so like those would be the only things I'd be like, okay, it's a maybe.
Yeah.
But like Odell said, like Alpha Spectre said, price point would be a big fucking thing for me.
Yeah. And you know it's going to drop down.
Oh, obviously.
Like, before it goes out of business, because come on, let's be serious. This isn't sticking around. Yeah.
We'd find them on We'd find them on eBay for like $50
before this goes out. It could be a frivolous buy, really, only for those moments where you're like, "Fuck, I really got to play some Tank," and then afterwards I want to watch Netflix, and you can do that all on one console.
Am I feeling Pong or Hulu?
Right. I also have a Pong console, but that's neither here nor there. Now, if they bring out a Pong console that also has Hulu...
But it's remastered, Pong.
But it's remastered.
It's all smooth.
Real smooth. So, you know what else is real smooth? Deadpool. Deadpool's always smooth. Yeah. So let's talk about this new Deadpool trailer. The one trailer I forgot to have us watch before we started recording. Did everyone watch it, though?
I've watched it. Yes.
Okay. All right, so we find out that Cable is after the kid. Like, there's been some speculation. What's his motivations? Like, who is this kid in general? We still don't know who the kid is, but now we know that the reason Cable...
He's a mutant of some sort. That's about all we know.
The reason Cable has come back in time is to get this guy. And, oh my god.
Can I throw a theory out there?
Okay, yeah.
Maybe it's kind of like a Looper type situation where this kid's going to grow up to be a big bad in the future.
Well, that's not really what Looper is about, but I get what you mean.
There's definitely... Well, which part about Looper? Because there's multiple...
Well, the reason these people get killed, they get sent back in time, is because they were hitmen for these guys, and...
That worked for who? The big bad. That eventually, but... Do we got to go over Looper again?
I think. All right. This has turned into a commoner's commentary for Looper. I'm gonna go get the Blu-ray.
Ooh, we should. Not this episode, but we should do a commoner's commentary on. We'll talk. We'll argue off mic.
We'll argue off mic on.
But I think he's gonna that's as of right now. That's my theory without knowing anything else. Is that this kid is going to either be a big bad, or he's going to do something that causes a chain of events.
Kind of like in Uncanny X-Force, where there's this whole debacle over whether they should kill Kid Apocalypse or not. I just wanted to show off my comic chops a little bit there, because I knew almost nobody else at the table was going to know that one.
I'm not.
You have the first book.
No, I have the both the complete collections.
Oh, okay.
Then there's no excuse for you not to know that.
Yeah.
Me, I just don't read a lot of Marvel.
I nodded in response.
Well,
the listeners obviously heard the nod, Bob.
You didn't nod loud enough.
There you go. Thank you. But yeah, and there's so many highlights from this shit again. The high heels.
I love
the high heels. How he's rounding up all the gluten in the world so it can't not hurt us anymore. The ass grab. I think you brought this up like the first trailer that came out or something. Someone brought it up. I know that, but I didn't catch it the first time. Got to see it in this time when he grabs Kate or Nope, didn't grab her out.
I gotta finish it now.
Rosario Dawson?
Nope,
that's Night Nurse.
The taxi driver.
No, not Depinder. The Colossus when he grabs Colossus's ass. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was
gonna go Blind Owl next. And
the wheelies or the
Heelys.
No, the donuts that he's doing in Professor X's chair.
Yes.
So many good parts. Definitely check this one out.
I saw a behind the scenes photo. You said you saw it in the trailer about a costume change.
Oh no. They straight up show the costume in the trailer.
No. I know what you're talking about because I thought this too, and I've watched the trailer like 5 or 6 times, just trying to write notes and shit on it. I think you can see Red specking through that. I think he's covered in dust.
Oh no, duct tape. Because I know that there's some part where he starts like covering up, like he starts.
Okay. Like there is something in there like that.
He starts putting duct tape over like bullet.
I don't know if is it in this trailer.
I don't know.
I don't think it's in this trailer. But
Paul's bring the trailer up.
He's got to bring up. God damn it!
Now that we watched the trailer again, and Oda was wrong.
Yes.
But can you understand the one where he was sitting up? We couldn't see the bottom half of his suit, where it's all gray.
No,
he's
but
covered shit.
That's what I was telling you. He's definitely covered in dust.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because especially that earlier part where like we hadn't noticed that he was covered in dust, but you pointed that out. That's obviously from the same scene.
Yeah. But like, you got to think. I was watching it on my phone. The brightness was down.
No excuse.
No excuse, Odell.
Hey, fuck you.
Eagle eyes.
Hey,
have them out all the time.
I get a pass. Fuck you.
$6 million man.
It's not gonna work on everything.
That's gonna work on
shit.
everything until this is over with.
I've already told him it could be like 10 years down the road. Podcast is over. Why were you late to my wedding? Well, in 2008 I did this and I got a pass.
Yep. Motherfucker.
2018.
Well,
yeah, he did it something back 10 years ago too. So.
Well, something that dates back 10 years ago is Chris Evans as Captain America, and unfortunately, we are going to see the end of that.
Which makes me sad over a character that if you would ask me 10 years ago, I wouldn't have gave a fuck about.
Well,
theory.
Mr. Evans confirmed with the New York Times that he has filmed back-to-back appearances for the upcoming Avengers film and fourth. Mm-hmm. And that his contract is up and he's ready to move on, basically. I'm paraphrasing for the most part there, but...
He said he wanted to like venture more into directing.
Yeah, and, he did. He had a directorial debut back in 2014, I want to say. I think. Yeah, he's done it once before. He had a movie come out. Couldn't tell you what it is right now. But
I think they listed it in the article, but I don't think it was anything that
I've heard.
Yeah, I have a theory.
Yeah. Okay,
what's your theory?
I have a theory. This merger with Fox is going to go through, and they're going to bring back the Fantastic Four movies from before as part of continuity, and he has to go back to being Human Torch.
Wouldn't it be so messed up? They bring back Jessica Alba. No, because they won't do that because
obviously
Jessica Alba.
Obviously, they won't do that.
Well, no. Here's the one thing. Like of all the reasons they won't do it, here's the one thing. Jessica Alba was the Invisible Woman, right?
Yes.
Yeah. She was traumatized by these movies. She almost quit acting over them. Yeah.
Really?
So there's no way she is ever going to.
She wasn't even the worst part about those movies, in my opinion.
Again, more movies that we could talk about off.
Those could be another episode of Commoner's Commentary.
They weren't as bad as Fan Stick. Let's just say that.
I've still yet to watch it.
They weren't fair. Yeah, well, don't. You're good. There's nothing redeemable. Not even Michael B. Jordan. But so what do you guys think? More importantly, someone's gonna take up the mantle. Who do you want it to be? Do you want it to be Sam Wilson? Do you want it to be Bucky?
Okay, I want it to be Sam Wilson because I feel like he doesn't get enough screen time.
Plus,
I feel like
he's been with the Captain America franchise from the second movie.
Yeah, from Winter Soldier on. Well, so has Bucky.
But I think,
this is true.
I think by rights, like in the direction they're heading, Bucky's next in line.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking at continuity in the comics, sure, yeah, but...
I mean, looking at it as, like, Marvel, I would say most likely it'll be Bucky, but I would prefer if it was Sam Wilson, because I feel like he just needs a little bit more in the movies.
He deserves more.
Yeah, and I feel like especially with Infinity War coming up, we're going to get a lot more Bucky, obviously.
And Bucky works great on his own, just as a Winter Soldier, that's fine. Yeah, like, we don't need to screw with that. Plus, when he was Captain America, that was not a popular book. People did not dig that. So,
and I read somewhere that this Captain, like Chris Evans in Infinity War, is kind of like MCU's version of Nomad.
Yeah, more or less.
I'm okay with that.
Well, I mean, we haven't seen him wield the shield at all. So, hashtag wield the shield.
Wield the shield. Hashtag wield.
Yeah.
But going back to him leaving, I've never gave a shit about Captain America prior to the movies. Like, to be completely honest. Like, I mean, I knew who he was. Like, I've always kind of had a basic appreciation for any and all heroes. But as far as, I mean, you guys both know that I've always been more of a DC guy, whether that's, when I was a child reading up even to now. Aside from, like, X-Men. Like, I used to love X-Men. Still love X-Men. But Captain America was always, like, your grandpappy's superhero.
Yeah.
You know? Chris Evans made me give a shit and really care for him. And honestly, by this point, I don't know who else could take the mantle of Steve Rogers if they do eventually want to recast, if there's any kind of big universe reboot type deal. I don't know.
I think they will. I think they're definitely going to stick someone else.
You think they're going to, like, recast Steve Rogers?
No, not recast.
I think that if they do wind up doing any kind of recasting of Steve Rogers, it'll be because of the Infinity Gauntlet.
No, I don't think they're about to reset or anything. I don't think they're gonna DCEU's Flashpoint this shit. But I'm with you on the whole Captain America thing. The only two times I've really cared was Civil War in the comics and Secret Empire, which was very recent.
And which is post Chris Evans.
Yeah. And then the movies. That has really been the only time he stood out to me as a character worth caring about. And it is because he's antiquated. Not in a way that Superman is. Superman is more of a pliable antiquity, whereas Captain America is Captain America is Captain America. You don't break that mold, really, which is what stood out so much about Secret Empire. So, yeah, I'm definitely with you there. What I'm not with, though, is the fact that there are not going to be any... It is official, there are no MCU TV heroes that are going to be appearing in Infinity War.
Like,
not even
10
Coulson.
Minutes. 5 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
Give me 5 minutes of, like, a quick shot of while shit's going on a big, larger scale.
Yeah.
The little bits that are trickling down, whether it's, like, pure pandemonium on the streets of Hell's Kitchen and other places in New York.
Yeah.
You have the Netflix people in there.
We're doing, like, a big
Coulson's been alive for fucking, 5 or 6 years now?
We're doing, a big fighting montage or something. You just swoop through real quick and you see Daredevil, like, taking down some fucking... Chitauri or something. You know, I don't.
How awesome would it be for them? Awesome and fucked up. Like, awesome for me because I have a twisted sense of humor. They finally bring back Coulson in the movies just for him to die again.
He's already dying in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Hey
again?
guys,
yeah.
I've been alive.
Well,
I know he lost a hand.
It's a degradation type thing. There's a whole lot that goes into it. But yeah, he's dying in the show.
Was Tahiti involved
Spoilers,
again?
I guess.
Was Tahiti involved again?
They tried to convince for a minute there. They tried to convince him that he was this whole time, all 5 seasons. He's just been on the table dying.
Oh, I thought you were
after Loki's spear.
So he's been Bruce Willis in it, like just running around as a spirit.
Or no, more of it was just a cognitive function. Yeah, that was just like him building this whole story while he's dying on the table after Avengers.
That's interesting.
I'm
but
just now
turned
getting
out
through
not
the
to
Ghost Rider season. Thanks for all this.
Turned out not to be true.
I'm still back on season 3.
It's literally like 10 minutes of one episode. Like, just get over it. Just watch the Ghost Rider shit. It's cool.
Coulson walks in. Guys, I'm fine. Went through a lot of shit, but I'm back. What are we doing?
Oh my God, Coulson's
Spear
alive.
to the gut again.
Thanos throws a moon at him.
But I mean, this does suck because we've been wanting this just a little nod, you know, and it's fine because we still know that these universes are one and the same. They still exist
For the
with
most
each other.
part, yeah. Well, I mean,
Well,
on all
because
the
they
shows, they
reference,
reference the movies. The movies never reference anything from the shows.
Well, what would the movies ever really need to?
I don't know.
Up
It'd be
to this
like,
point,
did you hear about that guy that dresses like a devil in New York? Weird, right?
Yeah.
Something.
They
Just give me
could've
just a little nod.
At least in Spider-Man: Homecoming,
or even like
they
a
could've gotten away
background.
with it
Yeah.
there,
Or even like a background something of a fucking like a news broadcast of the Devil of Hell's Kitchen.
or Jessica
Strikes
Jones,
it.
or
Something.
Luke Cage has been arrested or something.
Yeah, since all these,
Yeah.
since now apparently Luke Cage has a blog, like a vlog that like why
Yeah.
not like just something in the background, just be like, oh, okay, so they all do still kind of
Yeah.
connect.
This actually was solidified in an interview with Premiere from Joe Russo, where he said, "This is where some editing comes in because I can never find my fucking mouse when I'm looking for it. Where is it?
You have a lot of tabs up
There. Yeah. Well, I keep them up in case we need to
do this.
Yep. It's hard enough to communicate with Taika Waititi, Ryan Coogler, Scott Dickerson, Peyton Reed, and James Gunn at the same time, not to add all the showrunners and TV crews to this. The latter is also led by totally different people. Also citing the fact that they were going to have 60-plus characters in this.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it's understandable behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
like, fuck,
He
for
said it
one
was
time.
practically impossible.
No,
but look,
no,
this
it's
is,
not.
This is the big movie. This is the
This
one.
is what everything's been leading up to so far.
Yeah.
Everything has
So
been leading up to so far.
this is the time to do it, or at least put together a small team over here on the side for dealing with that, just so somebody else can take care of it, and you can just go, okay, good, let's move.
Yeah.
Takes 3 seconds of your day, Russo. So
Damn you, Russo. Get your brother to fucking do it.
Yeah, so that it's a huge bummer, but what is not a huge bummer is this new Infinity War trailer, and man, oh my god, all of them have been great so far.
Oh, yeah.
So much so that I don't know if it was Hollywood Babylon or which one of the 20 Kevin Smith podcasts I'm listening to, but they listened to this trailer, or I listened to them watch this trailer, and even then I was getting goosebumps.
Yeah, you just heard the audio.
Yeah, and even then I'm like, oh, this is going to be so good. But yeah, the new Infinity War trailer has been out for a little while now, and
if you haven't watched it, shame on you.
well, and we learn a little bit more about why Thanos is looking for the Infinity Stones, and it's kind of reminiscent of what happens in the Infinity Gauntlet story from the comics. Although in that story, he wants to destroy half the universe because he's in love with death, and he feels like that will impress her, or she asks him to. I can't remember. It's one or the other. But in this, he just wants to.
I don't. Do you think that there's like an MCU equivalent to death? Maybe Hela?
Hela, maybe, but we won't really know until we get into the movie. Deep dive. But right now, that on the surface, that's what it seems like. It's just a goal of his, just something to scratch off
It's
the
his bucket
list.
list. Yeah.
He wants to meet.
I want to rebuild a hot rod. I want to go to Tahiti,
right?
And destroy half the universe.
Shake hands with Mark Hamill. Destroy half the universe. There you go. But so we learn a little bit about his motivations in this whole thing, why he wants the Infinity Stones. We also, to quell all of the bitching, we finally get full armor. Thanos. That was really cool. I was very happy to see that.
I think they gave us that in this trailer just to shut people up, though.
Yeah.
Like, because it's a quick scene.
Well, there's twice it shows up, but it is quick both times. And I feel like that was it. Just
I feel like they were probably
shut the hell up.
hoping to avoid that reveal with how quick they put it in there. But it's like no one's shutting up about this.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like they were trying to avoid the reveal because
it's not like it's a big plot point or anything.
But at the same time, they literally have not shown one hint of it up till this point.
Yeah. Wasn't one of the post-credit scenes he was wearing the helmet as well?
Well, in the post-credit scenes, like he's looked different in almost all of them.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I think definitely, especially after fucking Justice League, they're like, hold on,
what Hulk?
we definitely need to make sure that this Thanos dude is looking hella good.
Wait a minute, wasn't Bruce Banner a little skinnier and talked different in that first Hulk movie?
A little bit. He looked a little.
Yeah,
he looked almost like a guy from Fight Club.
what first?
Yeah,
kind of.
But no, we finally get to see that. We finally get to see a little more Black Order. Again, real quick scene, but we got, if you pause it, you get a good look at him.
Yep.
Yeah, and...
Gets to the Chitauri again in a flashback scene.
Yes, which I believe that is going to be his own personal army that he's going to be using here.
Well, I mean, if you remember from the first Avengers movie, Loki was doing a lot of stuff for Thanos.
Yeah, but we didn't really... There wasn't really that link.
And if you... Well, I kind of remember... I may be imagining this now, but like there may have been a line or something that referred to like he was borrowing an army, or he was lent an army, and that was the Chitauri army from the big bad, who eventually we found out was Thanos.
Yeah.
So it would make sense, especially
I don't remember that
scene.
line, but it's totally possible.
We'll figure it out whenever we go through this marathon of MCU movies again.
Oh, we got 31 hours. Yeah, so good.
I'm down.
But, oh my god. And I think the thing I love the most from this trailer is this is the team-up trailer. We get to see...
Oh, yeah.
We get to see Star-Lord, Drax, and Iron Man all together. We get to see Groot, Rocket, and Thor hanging out. We get to see Spider-Man and Doctor Strange hanging out.
And I'm still, ever since it was announced that Benedict Cumberbatch was Doctor Strange, I'm still waiting for that scene for him and Tony Stark to be in the same scene and somebody say, "No shit, Sherlock." Because they both played Sherlock. And that's all I want in his life. I don't give a fuck what else they can do.
All we want from Cedric Flumberhatch is...
From Cucumber Cabbage Patch.
Yeah, that's all we want. Just that one scene. We'll leave the theater right after.
Like, I don't care. Like, he could be doing Thanos could be doing all of this because he gets an extra 20% off at Macy's. I don't care. As long as you give me that one line.
Tried to hold that in. It's
fine.
Yeah, doing this a little under the weather, guys. I'm sorry. So,
you do not hold in coughs or sneezes, or you will get a prolapse asshole.
Or brain aneurysm.
I'm not a doctor, but it sounds really good.
Yeah, this is just another epic trailer leading up to a very epic movie. I love Iron Man's busted up nanotech armor.
That was dope.
So, that was good. There's so many little pinpoint things. If you haven't seen it, again, what are you doing? Come on.
The post-title scene, I guess it would be. It's essentially like the trailer's version of a post-credits scene where there's Peter Parker and Stephen Strange, that little...
Yeah.
I'm Doctor Strange. Or I'm Peter Parker. I'm Doctor Strange. Oh, we're using our made-up names. I'm Spider-Man.
Right.
Cute.
He's
fucking adorable.
Secret Identity... How Secret Identities is Spider-Man in this trailer? Because he's hanging on the side of the bus.
That's what I was
puts his mask
That's
on.
what I was gonna bring up while we were rewatching the trailer for the millionth time. It's like he's hanging off the bus he was just in with a bunch of students that he goes to school with, and then he decides
his head
to
is
throw on
at window height.
just the mask,
jumping off the bridge, swinging under it in full clothes and shit, and then
and he's walking around in like full Spider-Man suit without the mask.
Yeah, and then he's like, "I'm Peter Parker, whatever."
I'm pretty sure he kept his identity secret from the Avengers.
Yeah, and well, at the very end of Homecoming, there was that whole thing where he was like, "I'm ready to reveal you to the world. We'll tell the world you're Spider-Man." He's like, "No, I'm good. I just want to be Peter Parker, separate from Spider-Man."
Yeah.
And so what the fuck? So, yeah.
Now, when there's a big giant purple man from space coming to destroy everything, all his rules go out the window.
You know who would know about big giant purple men from outer space coming to ruin shit?
Who's
the
that?
Power Rangers.
Oh, good segue.
Yeah,
Nice segue.
Well, that was actually a much better segue than what I had earlier. This was written in my notes to come in between Atari and Deadpool, but I forgot, even though it's a big thing right here. Now we're getting into it. But yeah, we got a little bit of a trailer for a comic book. We got a live action trailer for a comic book.
Okay, now are they going to add anything else to this? Because I've seen a little bit more behind the scenes photos and stuff on Kyle Higgins' Instagram page of shit that was not in this trailer.
Are you talking about the other costumes?
Like
because they were in the background. Yeah,
were they?
Yeah, there's a Yellow Ranger with the armor and stuff.
Well, the Yellow Ranger
is
and
you see the Red Rangers.
But there's a Black Ranger and a few other things. What's his name? Draken.
Lord Draken.
Is there a part in this trailer? Because I've only watched it once where he's holding Zed's staff.
Not that I saw.
Because if not, then there's some behind the scenes photos of that.
JDF put up a bunch of photos on his Instagram of him holding like the original Rita staff, the Zed staff.
I mean, maybe they got like multiple trailers coming out.
Or they just did multiple shoots and decided on which one was
I'd be okay with like a mini web series. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, when I first saw this, I didn't remember what Shattered Grid was, and I was like, fuck is this coming from?
Is this a new Bat in the Sun show?
Like, what the hell? But yes, this is a full live action trailer for the Shattered Grid storyline that's coming up in the comic books to celebrate the Power Rangers 25th anniversary. They're actually having a big old crossover. It's going to be kicking off March 28th in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 25, continuing in Go-Go Power Rangers number 9, and is going to have 2 tie-in one-shots. But basically, to describe this trailer, what you have is you have a behind-the-head shot of all these different
seasons of each.
Like flashing up. It's not really. It's like hologram type stuff.
It's like a mystical, smoky
hologram type
of shit.
Video screen showing all these different seasons, like you said. Yes, from various Power Rangers.
Everything
shows.
From Mighty Morphin up to like Dino Charge, which is one of the newest ones.
Thunder Strike, or Epic.
Like all
Tail,
of them, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what. All the
Jungle Fairy. I say Jungle Fairy because Jungle Fury is a real season. My son cannot pronounce it, so it's always Jungle Fairy.
Struggle Storm.
So I imagine this whole season of like Jungle Fairy Power Rangers.
Power Rangers Nano Fighters.
Dude,
those are just tiny.
And they've already
shrink down.
And they already went from like the Ninja Steel to a whole. There's a new one already announced. I can't keep up.
It's still going. It's one of the longest running kids programs of all time.
And the great thing about it is that, like, we all grew up with that shit, and like my 5-year-old loves anything and everything Power Rangers, everything from Mighty Morphin to shit that I don't even know about. So,
but anyway, so continue what the trailer is about. Yeah, you see someone sitting on a throne watching all these different universes play out and stuff, and then it slowly pans around to show Jason David Frank in Lord Drakon costume, full armor and stuff,
with long hair, with like a little bit of gray in it.
He's got the vein cracking going on, whatever you want to call that, and he says so many Rangers, so much potential wasted.
You could have been gods.
They could,
It's like he's gonna conquer all worlds.
Yeah.
And when the dust settles, only then will they realize they could have been gods. The first time I watched this trailer, it gave me chills.
Now, if you're not familiar, Lord Drakon is an alternate universe Tommy Oliver who. Most of his friends got killed, or did he get corrupted? I can't remember.
I think he got corrupted.
Yeah. Yeah, and then he killed most of his friends.
And he realized the potential of a Power Ranger.
And that was a really cool scene too when he's looking at the holographic things. Was that little scene where Tommy's like, "Oh, you guys are going to be my friends."
That actually gave me chills.
Like, that's adorable.
That they where they were like, "You'll always be one of us, Tommy." Yeah, and I was like, "Oh," and then he's like, "Fuck them."
Like, no, motherfuckers, no.
Yeah. So this actually got me pretty excited. It made me feel like maybe I gave up on the comic too quickly. My son wasn't digging it. I wasn't digging it.
I think I bought up to like issue 3 or 4.
I think we got up to like 14.
I think that's like right after everyone became a Green Ranger is where I dropped off.
Yeah.
So I think I have like the first appearance of Drakon. I might
go to Comic Story and see if he's got some videos that'll get me caught up, and maybe I'll jump on Shattered Grid.
Or maybe if somebody buys a trade or two, I might read them.
Yeah.
Well, I've already got the shop. They're gonna throw me a copy of Shattered Grid if they have an extra one.
One thing I was surprised about in this thing, they didn't include the new movie in the little hologram.
I noticed that.
I thought maybe they would like hoard in there. I watched it a third time just to go like, did I miss it or something? But yeah,
it stands outside of continuity.
Well, I mean, they didn't show a lot of like all the seasons anyway. Instead, they just kind of highlighted.
They also didn't show the Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation,
right?
Which had a crossover with the Power Rangers at one point.
Hold on, maybe they don't want to because that's going to be a spoiler.
It's a big part. It's like
it's a key moment in the comics,
in the final issue
when everything feels like there's no hope. Here comes Venus and Leonardo, Donatello, Michelangelo, Raphael.
My God, Venus. Yeah, sure, why not? All right, guys. So, unfortunately, there's a lot of news that comes out in the week, and we can't really cover all of it in long discussion without running like a 3-4 hour podcast. And that is why we take a dip into the phone booth.
It's time for the news, the phone booth news.
That's right, everyone. It's time for the phone booth news, where we try to give you the news faster than Deadpool can save the day, which gives us about 3 minutes, 45 seconds. Odal's got his finger on the button as soon as I get my page.
That sounds dirty.
Drink a little whiskey.
Let me refill you?
Yes, please. That's what I get for trying to cough and drink whiskey all at the same time. But, you know,
That's
man's got to do what a man's got to do.
That's it has a bit more of a kick to it than yours.
Oh, what do you got?
Maker's Mark.
What is that? 40 proof?
Mm-hmm.
Because
It's
it's the same.
It's
as
just
mine.
a lot harsher.
Oh, yeah, harsh. Okay, I get what you mean by kick then. Okay.
And go.
In video game news, Sega Europe announced 50 classic titles are coming to the PS4 and Xbox One, including Comic Zone, Toe Jam and Earl, and Sonic the Hedgehog. The games will be available May 29th. In anime news, FLCL sequels, Progressive and Alternative, finally have release dates. Sorta. Progressive comes to Toonami on June 2nd, and Alternative comes sometime in September. Dragon Ball Super announced a new film with a trailer. No date has been released yet. In movie news, Disney announced another live-action adaptation with Lady and the Tramp. The film will be a live-action CG hybrid with Charlie Bean directing. A leaked photo from the set of X-Men: The Dark Phoenix reveals the Frank Quietly inspired costumes of the film. Warner Brothers has announced New Gods as their next live-action DCEU project, and they've tapped Ava DuVernay to direct. In TV news, a trailer for Leprechaun Returns has hit YouTube. The series comes to Sci-Fi in 2019. The Walking Dead season finale and Fear the Walking Dead season premieres will be coming to 753 theaters across the U.S. on April 15th. Tickets went on sale March 16th. Rick and Morty Season 4 has been delayed due to difficult contract negotiations, according to Dan Harmon. The title of episode 7 of the upcoming Titans television series may have leaked unconfirmed reports that say that Jason Todd will be making a series appearance. In comics news, Disney is teaming with Dark Horse Comics to produce an Incredibles 2 graphic novel for young readers titled Heroes at Home, and a 3-issue miniseries called Crisis in Midlife and Other Stories. No release date has been announced. The Plastic Man miniseries in Spinning Out of Dark Knight's Metal finally has a team writer of Gail Simone and an artist of Adriana Mello. The series hit shelves in June. Part of a 5-project deal with DC Comics, Frank Miller will be writing a young adult graphic novel focused on Carrie Kelly, Batman's Robin from the Dark Knight series. On April 18th, DC introduces the world to Old Lady Harley in Harley Quinn number 42, which is exactly what it sounds like. In other awesome news, former WWE World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan will finally be making his return to wrestling after being forced into retirement in 2015. The U.S. Navy's newest sub, the USS Colorado, is the first attack sub to use an Xbox 360 controller. Reportedly, they made the switch due to cost efficiency and ease of training. Mark Hamill has returned to the role of young Luke Skywalker in a recent Forces of Destiny. Check it out on Disney's YouTube channel. TV's Wonder Woman and famed singer Linda Carter will be honored April 3rd with a star on Hollywood's Walk of Fame. And Nerdist has provided Timmy Wiseau with the means to make a bid for the role of the Joker in the upcoming standalone film. See Tommy's audition tape now on Nerdist.com or YouTube. And that is the news. Yeah, 3 minutes, 17 seconds.
Real quick, there's a few things in there I didn't know about.
I really fucking suck at the phone booth things, but yeah, go on.
Okay, I knew the Incredibles comics. I didn't know that there was going to be a graphic novel and then a 3-issue mini, but like either way, I'm throwing all my money at that. What was another one? I freaked out over?
There's a reason we have phone booth news.
I know,
to not go into detail about this.
I'm so excited over a lot of stuff there.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff. Yeah,
we'll talk about it later.
Yeah. Okay, guys. So that is going to lead us into a more somber moment in the show, which is a segment we call Fallen Heroes. Every now and again, a legend is brought into this world, but before they can become that legend, they have to pass through this mortal coil and become fallen heroes. First on our list is Meltdown Comics, a pillar in the comics community for over 25 years, announced that they will be closing their doors on March 30th. Meltdown was so much more than an exceptional comic book store, though. At any time, you could catch an impromptu comedy show in the back, which eventually inspired Comedy Central's Meltdown with Kamel and Jonah. The Attic served as a headquarters for Nerdist, starting with the podcast. And the comics world is really taking a blow with this one.
When I seen that article, that saddened me to no extent.
They haven't revealed why it's happening. It's just going away as far as we know.
That's been happening.
It's like Tower Records all over again.
It really is. It's fucking. This really is Tower Records of the comic book world.
This is so sad.
Next on the list, Toys R Us founder Charles Lazarus.
That's another one.
He passed away on the 22nd at the age of 94. One person said this about him: he was best known for his positive energy and passion for the customer and love for children everywhere. This news comes just over a week after it was announced that the store would be closing all locations worldwide, and you have to wonder if this is a death by heartbreak. You know,
it feels like it is.
Yeah, it's really, really sad. Next, Frank Averush, who played Bozo the Clown from 1959 to 1970, the first nationally syndicated Bozo and host about Man About Town, and the board member of UNICEF's New England chapter, which he actually would travel around doing shows as Bozo for.
That's awesome.
Passed away on the 23rd from heart disease.
That's not awesome.
He was 89.
Yeah.
He had a good long run at it, though.
He had a good run.
Last, we pay tribute to an academic decorated with the Royal Society Fellowship, a Presidential Medal of Freedom, a Fundamental Physics Prize, and countless other honors, a pioneer of black hole insights, the theory of relativity, and quantum mechanics in general. Someone who baffled the medical community for 55 years after being diagnosed with ALS in 1963 and expected only to live 3 to 5 years. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Professor Stephen Hawking, who passed away on March 7th at the age of 76. He inspired, humored, and most importantly, made us think and changed the way we did it.
That one saddened me tremendously.
Yeah.
Fucking great run. He had a great run in life, especially only given about 3 years to live anyway. And he God.
It really seemed like he was living with these last few years of his life too. Just like, it seemed like his theories got a lot crazier, but not like, oh, he's starting to lose it. Just like, what else can I think about?
Yeah,
like, what else is out there, you know? And just the more and more he showed up on our television screens, entertaining us and again making us think more.
Simpsons, the episode.
Big Bang Theory. Every time he had an interaction with Sheldon, I loved it.
The fact that in Simpsons, Homer called him Larry Flint.
Oh God. But yeah, he will be missed. But again, he also made a great run of it. 55 years.
Yeah, especially since he was only given, like you said, 3 to 5 years to live anyway.
And it was a very rare diagnosis as well, because usually that affects people in their like 40s and 50s. He was diagnosed at 21.
That's insane.
Yeah. So we definitely pay tribute to him and hold a candle up for that man. But moving on from that, let's talk about the thing that brought us all to the table, the thing that really got this podcast started, the thing that we're practically married to, right?
Yeah.
My wife?
No.
Are you guys married to my wife too?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you guys need to start picking up some slack.
No.
Oh.
I'm talking about comic books.
Those, yes.
Which is why we've started doing something old, something new, something borrowed, and something blue. So basically this is how it works. I cover something old, I just grab something out of my boxes, some back issue, read that. Odell covers a brand new #1 from that week, I guess this week. We usually take something borrowed. Hopefully, eventually, we'll get you guys sending us something. Or last time we did a review from IGN. This time, Bob is going to be doing something he borrowed off of Alpha Spectre.
Woo!
And something out of the blue from Dr. Tino, which he will literally be phoning in this episode.
He's with us in spirit and also in an added-in segment.
A dropped-in clip coming later. So I'm going to be covering Tomb Raider number 1 through 4 from Top Cow Productions. I believe this book came out around the year 2000. And this was actually written by Dan Jurgens with art by Andy Park.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right. It's got some big names attached, and it's relevant.
Right? And you'd think I'd be a little bit more excited for this, but...
Are you telling me that?
Well, let's talk about the story here first. In the story, we join Lara Croft as she's traveling to various places across the world in search of the Medusa Mask, a relic said to be worn by Medusa herself, holding powers such as the Gaze of Death. At the same time, Laura, accompanied by her family's faithful servant and bodyguard, Hartford Compton... I love the last name Compton. He's straight out of it. Must fight off a number of assassins bent on killing them for reasons unknown. This story is barely passable at best, and the thing that really hinders it most is the divisive way they use Laura's emotional entanglements, like the death of her parents and her fiance, and her appreciation for Hartford. If it had been approached as like just purely an action adventure story, only elaborating on her connection to Compton, it may have worked a little better and maybe quicker too. Like I could have seen them slamming this into like 3 issues rather than 4, because it does action well. Sequences like there's an underwater knife fight where they're surrounded by sharks. There's this firefight in a kerosene factory. These actually worked for me. Yeah,
a kerosene factory?
Yeah, a kerosene plant or factory or whatever. But it's a little over the top, but it works. It works for me. I even enjoy. There's a little twist at the end that I enjoy in issue 4, but it's not for the reasons I think it's meant to surprise me. But reference my comments from earlier about emotional entanglement. That's what they're basing your surprise on, and that's not what got me. It was just an, oh shit, I did not see that coming. Don't really care why she cares about this, but that was interesting. Also, fuck everything with Chase Carver. Just fuck all of that. Ultimately, you could probably skip this one altogether unless you've read like every good story out there, you've already run through all your new weekly books, or you have to for a podcast. Yeah. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed in Dan Jurgens here.
That was probably the only shining light right before you started this review was, oh, Dan Jurgens. Okay. Because other than that, it's like, okay, it's Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. It's, what was it? Late 90s.
I get my rocks off building people up just to tear them down. So
he gets his rocks off to Lara Croft in this book.
He just...
No, because it is bad, like, 90s, early 2000s. We just discovered we can make things on computers.
Yeah. He just gets his rocks off.
I don't need visual aid for that.
No.
He's
got a mental spank bank.
All right, so Odell,
speaking of mental spank banks, horrible segue.
I don't know what that segue was, but Odell, you're doing something new here, huh?
This week I am doing Gideon Falls #1. It just came out. It's the new Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino.
Cool.
Did I say that right? Yeah, Sorrentino.
Yay!
I've been struggling saying
Congratulations
that right.
on pronunciation.
Okay. I fuck up someone's name every episode. Several times an episode.
It's a tradition.
So yeah, it's okay.
So, Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino, they did one of the Green Arrow runs.
Okay.
They did the first 25 issues of this new run of Old Man Logan.
Okay, that was pretty popular too.
Jeff Lemire did some stuff with Zack Snyder here recently, or not Scott Snyder.
You're gonna get one of these names right.
It was a Snyder. He worked for DC. You're forgiven.
But this is his first creator-owned book, and they've had the idea for this since they were doing Green Arrow. Him and Sorrentino, they just clicked. So this book follows 2 different characters. It follows the character Norton, and it seems they take place in different time periods too, which is weird but cool.
Okay.
Okay.
It doesn't elaborate on that at all?
No.
Okay.
No. So
maybe we'll find out eventually.
Well, it's a number one. There's a lot left unanswered. A lot. So Norton is this pseudo-religious OCD, like, he has been in a mental institution and now sees a therapist on the regular. He constantly is sifting through trash, finding pieces of wood, rusty nails, and all that. And the trash is speaking to him. So he's explaining this to his therapist, and the therapist is telling him, like, look, you're out for good behavior. You could be put back in. Like, this needs to stop. He's not going to stop. On the other hand, we have a preacher. This preacher is sent to a place called Gideon Falls to replace their previous pastor who died. He's greeted by this friendly old lady with a hook for a hand, like one of those like prosthetic, like lost her hand due to probably diabetes because she's really big.
Okay.
He doesn't want her around, so he tells her to leave. But first, he tries to ask, how did the previous guy die? She doesn't want to talk about it. So it bounces back and forth between these two characters, where we're back at the therapist. He's talking about how, like, evil is in the world, incarnate evil, not just like a feeling of people being evil. And he's then monologuing about how these pieces that he's finding in the trash, he finally realizes what they are, something tangible that is just spread out across the city.
Definitely a number one type of story where it's like there's so many questions.
And there's a page that I wanted to actually like point out to you guys real quick was the fact that like we have the preacher going through a field while Norton is going through his notes.
And the panel's upside down.
Yeah, and they're inverted. So it's almost like they're on like two different spectrums of the same thing.
Like he's on the upside down.
So Tom is eventually the preacher is led to what Tom was trying to get him to find, which was the barn, which ultimately leads him to the body of the woman who has been impaled by her own hook hand. And that's where the book ends. Like I said, the hook hand serves a purpose.
Okay, so it's like a legit like amputee hook hand. I would just pictured like a rusty old fucking
with the two little
like
claws.
Urban, I was thinking like urban legend type of thing. You know what I mean?
Like a spear on the end of it or something. Yeah.
90s Aquaman type of...
like, reading this book, the two characters are obviously connected, especially by the end. Mm-hmm. And it's very Lemire. Lemire is, like, incredibly supernatural, like, sci-fi out there with a lot of the stuff he does. It's very Lemire.
It'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah.
Moving on down the line, though, Bob is going to be doing our Something Borrowed section, like we said before. So take it away, Bob.
Going back to what Oda was just saying, this is a number one, so it leaves us with a lot of questions. Okay. It sets up a perfect world, and the book I'm going to review today is Oblivion Song by Robert Kirkman. You know, you may have heard some of his work. He's done a comic called what's it called, Invincible.
Didn't he have a show?
And there's something about like zombies or vampires or something.
Is that still on the air?
Walking Dead, I believe is what it's called. Yeah.
Talking Dead's from the other dude with a different podcast.
Yeah, that's ID10T Nerdist dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't ring a bell.
Yeah.
Never heard of it, huh? No.
Well, of course, this is a Robert Kirkman issue 1. So first off, buy it just for value's sake. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's co-created by a man named Lorenzo. I'm probably going to butcher this. Lorenzo De Felici.
Von Matterhorn.
De Felici, maybe, who's also the artist. But him and Kirkman are both
awesome.
co-creators.
How I Met Your Mother reference, Vinny. Yeah.
High five.
So 5.
And then the colorist is I'm assuming woman named Annalisa Leone. Never heard of her, but
okay.
I dig the art in this. And the story takes place post 1 decade, 10 years after 300,000 citizens in the whole city of Philadelphia just kind of disappears into a place called Oblivion. And we're not quite sure if this is like an alternate dimension, if this is aliens, what it is. But what it is, it looks like a post-apocalyptic, almost dystopian type of world. And for the last 10 years, the government has put in money into going into Oblivion and trying to rescue any survivors they have left. And there's like these weird mutated creatures that are there, like these giant beasts that are just hunting down anything living. And there's a man named Nathan Cole, and he's one of the main, I'm not sure what you would call him, rescuers maybe. The story starts out with him in mask, everything. It looks like he's hunting down these people like they're game. There's a man and woman running from him, and he shoots them with a sniper rifle, and the first person he hits is a man, and he just poof, just disappears. Not really sure what the fuck happens. Like, he didn't die, and he literally disappears. And then once he starts going for the woman, one of these little crazy beasts comes up out of the ground, knocks him on his ass, and starts kind of going after this woman. He shoots that woman, she disappears, and the beast is fucking pissed. So he turns back to the guy and starts going after him. He's pressing what looks like some kind of big giant button on his, I can't remember if it's his belt or chest piece. Either way, it's like a teleport button, and it's not working. So there's a few pages where he's just trying to get away from this beast. Until finally he pulls out the syringe out of his utility belt and fucking shoves it into his neck, and poof, he goes into the desert, into the world that is everything aside from Philadelphia. Everything that's not in this world of Oblivion. And you find out very quickly that there's like a Vietnam memorial type memorial up where all these people that have been lost into what they've dubbed as Oblivion, which is this, like I said, like an alternate dimension maybe. And this Nathan guy, he keeps going in, and every time he saves somebody, he etches out their name on this wall, which kind of gives false hope to these people that have lost their loved ones that they'll never get back. Government didn't want to really fund him anymore, so he's decided to just do this on his own. So next thing you kind of see is him going back to Oblivion on his own, trying to avoid all these mutated beasts, monsters, and stuff. And he's taking what do they call it in the dentist, where they take an impression of your teeth.
Oh, what is that called?
You know,
there is a special name for it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
We're not pausing on this shit. But he's essentially pulling dental records, like pulling dental forums of these bodies he's finding laying around. Because what you assume is that when he gets back to real Earth, to real world, he's going to look him up, try to see if it's his brother. And after that, after he bounces back to the real world, you see there's been a group of people watching him in his last trip. And the leader of this group of people, at the very last panel, you find out is his brother. He obviously doesn't know that the man that's out there is his own brother, is Nathan. And that's pretty much it. Like, I know that's a very lackluster review. It's my first comic review for quite a long time. But really all you need to know is that this is a Kirkman issue 1. This is definitely something you want to jump on.
Oh, yeah.
So you dug
100%.
Shit, yeah.
100%, dude. I love this story. Obviously, you can't tell from this review, but it's definitely worth picking up. I guarantee first printing is already sold out.
I don't know. Like,
I'm pretty I don't know.
A couple weeks ago at Lexington, people were selling them for like $8 an issue, like
about double, pretty much double the cover price the week that it released.
And then, like, I know our shop is sold out.
Like I said, it's a Robert Kirkman issue 1. You want to jump on it as soon as possible. If not, then just judging by this first issue, pick up the first trade once it comes out.
All right, so that's going to take us to Travis, Dr. T. Neal in the field, which I assume is probably his kitchen, where he's recording this on his phone, I think he told me. But Travis is going to be, I think he said he's going to do Rick and Morty #1. So let's go with Travis.
Unfortunately, Dr. T. Neal could not submit his comic book review for Rick and Morty #1, but from what I understand, the book contains the titular characters of Rick and or Morty, and they do things in places amongst people. So, what do you care? Nobody's listening to this part anyways, right? I could say anything. I can say, like, none farts. Haha, none farts. You know, hey, just in case you are listening, hit us in the comments with hashtag none farts. There you go. here's the show back.
Ah, great,
Fantastic
fantastic
review.
review.
Classic
So good.
Travis.
Oh boy, do you like that part in the middle?
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that was
great.
great.
But
That was
the
the
ending, the ending was my favorite.
All right, so Odell, you did want to say a little, and I mean just a little something
So,
about this other book you read.
I just want to let you guys know, I read Green Lantern Earth 1.
Yay!
All right, good job.
Fantastic
Yay.
job,
Oh,
Odell.
go. You
Great.
still got
You're
it.
awesome. Yay!
You still got it.
Yay!
All right,
Yeah.
so
That's such an inside joke that no one will get besides us four.
yay. All right, let me make sure there was nothing else on the show agenda.
As far as my notes go, that's it. Oh yeah, interviews. Yeah.
Yep. Hold on.
Yep.
Did you really forget about those?
No. That I did forget to write. I absolutely did.
I wrote them down.
If you want to submit any comics for our Something Borrowed section, though, go ahead and message us at sortofmybrand@gmail.com or message us at sortofmycomics or sortofmybrand on Facebook. But one last thing that we're going to go ahead and jump in here and do. This was supposed to come. Hold on. This was interviews was supposed to be for comics, right?
Yes, and they're in my notes that way.
Oh boy.
Well, at least that's the way you sent them to me.
I did. That's how I wanted it set up, but I think I already had this written before I did that. So we did have a little more from our time at Lexington Comic Con that we didn't get to in the last episode. Like we said in that last episode, we had other interviews lined up. We didn't know if they were going to happen, so we didn't play them in that episode. We didn't plan for them, but they happened. So these are actually both your interviews.
Yeah.
These are your babies.
So why don't you go ahead and lead us into them? Who'd you talk to here? The first one's first. It was a comic creator, right?
The first one is Donny Cates.
Yep.
He's the current writer on Doctor Strange, Thanos. He's going to be writing the upcoming Venom relaunch.
Yep, a lot of people are excited for that one.
He wrote God Country, which I can't recommend that enough. Buzzkill. He's got a new, I can't remember what publisher it's through, but it's called Reactor. He's got Baby Teeth, which is really, like, I mean, he's all over the place.
He's got a few things. I get it. But
you can edit some of that out.
Yeah.
But like, he's all over the board with what he's writing. He always picks really great teams to work with. And I was able to pick his brain about some of the backstory behind God Country, which if you listen, like, it has a really cool story, and a little bit about Venom. So here it is.
Yeah.
First, I want to thank you for agreeing to do this with me. Fan of a lot of your work already. So one of the first things that I always like to ask is, what was your first comic?
Honestly, I wish I knew the answer to that. I started reading comics when I was like 3. My brother was a big baseball card fan, and I used to go to the mall with him to the baseball card shop. And my dad made me a deal that they had comic books up in the shop. My dad made me a deal that if I would learn how to read using these comics, that he would buy them for me. To my recollection, I believe it was Spider-Man and Venom was how I learned how to read.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to assume that, like, with that being some of your first reading, that's what's kind of pushed you to take over Venom coming up soon.
I was obsessed with that character for a very long time. I used to do sculptures of him, and I actually got a scholarship to college from doing sculptures of Venom. So Venom turns, when I launched the new #1, is on his 30th anniversary. I'm 33, started reading him when I was 3. So I've been there for the entire time. Yeah, it's crazy. Awesome. It's a trip.
So, what kind of pushed you into writing comics?
Well, I ran a bunch of stores in Austin of comic book shops, and I ran those into the ground because I was terrible at it. I just loved being in the industry, being a retailer, and being around comics all the time. And I was always a pretty good artist, and so I went to SCAD in Savannah to try and be a penciler. And quickly kind of just fell in love with the other aspect of it, of writing. Because you had to take a mandatory writing class. I did that, and I had a really good professor who took me aside and kind of told me that I had a knack for it. And so I started doing that, and then I got an internship at Marvel that summer. And then from the Marvel internship, that was like writing boot camp. You wrote every fucking day, you know. And then I started making my own little ash cans and going to cons and trying to sell my own stuff. And then quickly after that, I got my first thing at Dark Horse.
Nice.
Yeah.
So right now, God Country. I know we talked a little bit about it yesterday, but like, what was some of your inspiration behind all that?
Well, I had a pretty serious health issue about 3 years ago that put me in the hospital. And it was pretty touch and go there for a while. I almost died, right? I'm totally fine now. But I came out the other side of that. Like, I turned 30 and immediately, like, my body just, like, failed on me. And I came out the other side of that having a lot to say about death and trying to let go. And, you know, I had some serious shit to talk about all of a sudden. And you filter that through a kid who grew up in Texas reading Jack Kirby comics. And what you get on the other side is God Country, you know?
Okay. So, now, Redneck.
Mm-hmm.
Where'd that all come from?
To be perfectly honest, Redneck came from me reading a book and reading the word redneck in it and saying, wait, has anybody ever done a fucking vampire book called Redneck? Because red neck, right?
Yeah.
When you get bit by a vampire, your neck's all red. But then I started like writing the actual pitch, and it really tapped into a lot of the of my own family. I think anyone in the South in particular has a branch of their family tree they'd like to saw off. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And we certainly have that in our family, and they all live in East Texas. And when my parents had my brother and I, they kind of drew a line in the sand. They said they're not going to raise us the way that they were raised, like racism and bigotry and all this kind of fucked up violence and shit like that, right? And so that's what Redneck is about. It's a family that has evil in their blood that has decided to not be monsters anymore, you know, and they're trying to overcome this like infinite cycle of violence over and over and over again, you know.
Okay. So you've been working on Thanos and Doctor Strange. That's all starting to come to an end with the whole fresh start thing. One of my other co-recorders, I guess. He wanted to know like what was the idea behind like the Cosmic Ghost Rider and Frank Castle.
Mm-hmm. It's really hard to kind of to describe. It was an idea that I've had for a long time. Before Marvel was even on my radar, or I should say before I was on their radar.
Right.
I've been on, yeah. I just thought that a cosmic rider was a fucking rad idea. It's one of those things where you have an idea for something and you're just like, man, someone's already done that for sure. Like, someone's already done that, you know? And I remember I had a conversation with an editor at Marvel at New York Comic Con, and he asked me, like, well, what would you want to do? Like, is there a character that you like? And I was like, well, I have this idea for a Ghost Rider in space. And then, you know, the reveal is that it's Frank and everything. And he was like, dude, what? He was like, I don't know about all that. He was like, I meant like an existing character, like who do you like? And I was like, oh, well, okay. And as far as the Frank Castle of it all goes, I think no one likes vengeance more than Frank Castle. To me, it seems very obvious that he'd become a writer eventually, you know? And when I was starting to do the outline for Thanos, in the first issue, I needed someone who could act as a herald of the King Thanos in the future. Someone who could come back in time and grab young Thanos out of time, right? And so when I was putting together the pitch, I was like, man, who could this be? Like, could it be someone from like the Black Order, or should it be like Corvus Glaive or something like that? And then I was like, wait, no, I have this fucking dope idea for this character. And so I put it in the pitch, fully expecting them to come back and be like, what are you doing? Like, this is bananas, no way. And they loved it. And none of us over at Marvel expected people to latch onto that character as much as they did. But yeah, it's taken off. It's really weird.
It's getting into a miniseries coming up, right?
This summer.
So any, like, are you able to say anything about what's coming out, like what's coming up for that?
No. No. I will say that issue 17 of Thanos comes out next month. Or this month? I don't know. You'll get a clearer idea of what that miniseries is going to be about. There's some things that happen in issue 17 people are going to have a lot of questions about. And you'll get you'll get a better understanding of what that's going to be like. Yeah.
So what I've been dying to talk about all weekend is Venom.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you get to take the reins on him, and like, so what are you planning on doing with him?
Well, I can't talk about it too much, but yeah, in May we relaunch Venom with a new #1 for his birthday, and yeah, I don't know. What can I say about it? I've been describing what I'm doing as a kind of like a Lovecraftian action film. We're gonna. One of the coolest things about Venom as a character, as far as a writer, is that we know bits and pieces of like Eddie Brock's backstory, and we know bits and pieces of the symbiote as a species, but not a whole lot. Not as much as you would think would be there from having been around for 30 years. Yeah, and so I'm gonna go deep into that kind of stuff. We're building a mythology around both of them. So like, Peter Parker, his entire life, every action that he makes in his life is drawn back to a specific point in time. It's when his uncle died, right? It informs every choice that he makes. Eddie Brock always talks about protecting the innocent, right? Where does that come from, right? What is Eddie Brock's Uncle Ben moment, right? And it's such an awesome gift to be able to give that character that moment. And kind of fill in the blanks on that, and also the symbiote's backstory and where the symbiotes came from, maybe what their belief structure is as far as the gods, stuff like that.
I remember in one of the Guardians of the Galaxy runs, they had to take a trip back to the symbiote homeworld, but you don't learn very much about them, just that this particular symbiote was corrupted. Yeah, that was Bendis's run. We're gonna be tying back to those scenes a lot. Eddie Brock has never been to space. Eddie Brock has never encountered the Clintar planet or anything. So those are gonna be things that we're definitely gonna be exploring. Eddie missed out on a big chunk of the symbiote experience in that when he first got the symbiote, we kind of skipped over the entire part where that's fucking terrifying. Like, getting an alien goo on you that, like, has teeth and shit, it's terrifying. And certainly when Peter got it, there was some scary shit. But when Eddie got his, he was just kind of instantly, like, way into it, Yeah. And so that's something else, like, when my first issue opens, Eddie and the symbiote are having some difficulties. And Eddie, for the first time in a very long time, is terrified of his own shadow. Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna kind of have like maybe some horror elements mixed in with. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, and then you said that comes out in May.
May 9th.
Great. So that really kind of wraps up my questions.
Yeah.
Builds my excitement up way more for this. Again, thank you so much for agreeing to do this, and I can't wait to read these when they come out.
Awesome. Thanks, bud.
Thank you.
All right. Good interview. You guys shot the shit for a good minute there, yeah.
Yeah, like he seemed overall like he seemed like overall enthusiastic about doing the interview. He didn't seem like he was.
What do you mean enthusiastic? You mean like a clown enthusiastic?
No, what do you mean?
Because you said Goodfellas.
I was gonna say, is that a Goodfellas reference? Thank you.
God, that's good.
All right. So, well, you had another one that.
And not only that, but good score on that one, by the way.
Yeah.
Hey, it never hurt. I tried to get Jay Lee,
Which we knew was a no-go.
I already knew going
and he
in.
was the nicest. That was probably the nicest shutdown he could ever have, which was like, you're much. What do you say exactly?
He's
You're
like,
much more.
I don't really like talking. You're much more outgoing than
Yeah.
than I am. So
which is him saying like, no, I'm good.
And we almost had an interview with Jim Shooter too,
Yeah.
but we didn't get there early enough because he
was
said catch
swamped
him
pretty much the whole
Yeah,
time.
he said get to me early in the day and we can do that, but we didn't get there early enough. So
And we really thought about asking Neil Adams for an interview, but it looked like he was a bit under the weather. Like it looked like he was
But he was just a pleasure
literally
to
sick.
talk to.
yeah.
But just the fact that we got to be able to spend 10 minutes with him.
and
or
I
so
think we
talking to him.
elaborated on
the previous
him,
episode?
yeah, on the
Yeah.
last episode, and I think we told the Jim Shooter story about
Yeah.
how the wedding issue came to be. But
Yes.
you got another interview though as well.
This one was actually with a company. It's Broken Icon Comics.
Mm-hmm.
They put out more like
Who we've been talking to a lot lately.
Hmm.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
Oh,
That's
yeah?
all I'm gonna say about that.
They do a lot of creator-owned stuff. They're the showrunners for TriCon in Huntington, West Virginia.
Oh, what's that?
Yeah, it's a little one-day convention in Huntington.
But they're on their 6th or 7th year.
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Since 2011 or 12.
Yeah.
But I got to get
Getting
an
bigger
interview
every
with
year,
them,
too.
Oh, yeah.
find out where they started, why they started, and everything else.
And didn't you get a scoop in this one?
I did.
Yeah.
And I actually scored some other information off mic that some of it's coming soon, some of it's coming later.
Yeah.
So here's that interview. Check it out.
Cool.
All right, guys, I am here with Nick Wentland and Eric Watkins of Broken Icon Comics. They are also the showrunners of TriCon in Huntington, West Virginia. First of all, thank you guys for agreeing to do this with me.
Absolutely.
Been a big fan of TriCon since it started up. So first of all, like with Broken Icon, what pushed you guys into wanting to start that up?
I actually went to a comic shop with a friend of mine for the first time ever in 2009, and I really liked it. He gave me a couple books. I read them overnight and wanted to keep reading. Well, the comic shop owner gave me free tickets to Baltimore Comic Con because his business was going there. And he's like, why don't you go represent me and just go meet some of these people? I said, cool. And I actually got to sit down with Robert Kirkman. And this is before Walking Dead exploded. And he was giving me a bunch of really cool pointers and ideas. I went home after Baltimore Comic Con, and this was in 2009, started writing my own book. And then in November, the same comic book shop owner started a local artist group called Oval. And it was for writers and artists to kind of meet each other in the local market.
Oh, cool.
And it was at a taco place. I went to the first meeting. They weren't really doing the same thing I was doing, what I wanted to do, which was to make a publishing company.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't going to go back. But my wife was pregnant, and she was like, I want tacos. So we went to a second meeting, and I met my business partner, James Maddox, there. And she literally was the first one who met him, and she said, Eric, you've got to go meet him. He wants to do what you want to do. James and I sat and we talked together, and we never went back to another meeting. We LLC'd a month later and started a publisher in 2009. And then Nick joined us shortly in early 2010.
Great. So you've been with them for about 8 years now, doing coloring for the covers and everything else. How's that experience been?
Oh, it's been great. I actually, Broken Icon broke me into the company or into the whole industry. I'd always wanted to be a comic book artist, but, I didn't really know how to go about it. I found these guys. They took a chance on me, gave me a couple books, and within a few years, since I'm kind of a multi-talented kind of person, I was doing design for them, setups, coloring, doing lettering, working on all kinds of books, and just everything just exploded from there.
Awesome. So they basically helped give you the push that you needed.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, they took the chance on me, and I'm one of those people that's always believed in loyalty, and I really liked hanging out with these guys and what they believed in, and so I just kept doing more and more work and just really trying to make myself indispensable to the company, and eventually they offered me a partnership, and so I'm full-blown BIC.
Awesome.
We've had a couple people since the very beginning, Nick Wetland and Rob Duma, who's our art director, about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Duma's been with us since the very beginning. Again, we started in November of 2009, so we hired these guys December, January, February of 2010, within months of starting the company. And so they've been so intertwined with what we've done. Rob Duma actually became our art director. Nick became a partner this year, full-fledged with all the stuff that we do, and we've had a lot of really, really good people, so it's been easy to succeed because of the people we have around us.
That's great. So, on to TriCon, I know you guys go to different conventions yourselves, but what gave you guys the push to want to start your own convention?
So we started to see the market kind of switching back in 2011, and we'd only been doing the convention scene for about 2 years at that point. We started to notice that the market was switching away from the creators. It was going to the more media shows that you see now. And that's not a bad thing. Like Lexington, this is done right, and this is a huge place for us to strive at a place like this. But there's a lot of shows that it's all media, and the comic stuff falls to the side. And we started to notice that trend, so we were like, you know what? We want to do a show, and we want to do a show for our creators, for our friends. So our show from the very beginning, 2012, we ran the first show. It's been the same thing. All of our creators have a 10 by 10 piped and draped booth that you only see guests have at other shows. All of our show floor is geared towards the creators. 50% of our show floor is artists and writers versus other shows. We only bring 1 or 2 media guests a year in, and that is it. And they have to be tied to the comic industry in some way. Yeah. So we brought Mick Foley one year. Mick Foley was writing the WWE comic and has written a couple books. Yeah. We brought in Ted DiBiase. He had written books. We brought in Neil Kaplan, who was a voice actor of Transformers, but he had a tie to it. We brought in Ricky Simons, who was the voice of Gurr one year, but he also wrote comic books. This year, we're bringing in Kevin Graveau, who wrote Underworld, the movies Underworld, and then he started his own publishing company to create the comics. So all of our people tie back to comics and novels in that manner. So we've been proud of what we've been able to create doing that because we wanted a show for just creators.
That's awesome. So have you guys ever thought about extending it past like the single day con and making it like a weekend one?
No. The thing with creators is we want to try to help them keep their expenses as low as possible. So when creators are coming to us and telling us they're having to turn a bunch of work away, then we'll look at it. But the one day thing works. Like we're looking at doing another one in Huntington, maybe earlier in the year. And then we're looking at maybe doing one in another city or two in West Virginia and kind of expanding out and just do the one day shows for creators to come in, people to come in, see what it's all about, learn about the industry. If they want to do it, they can get behind a table, and then just be done with it. So you do the one and done. I like the one day. I love 2 and 3 day conventions, but there's something that's so special about that one day.
So, like every year, you guys have had your own TriCon exclusive cover that you've released. You can only get with the VIP pass. And then you can usually purchase copies once you're inside. So what brought about the idea of like just getting your own con exclusive covers?
I think it's a sense of legitimacy almost. I mean, like if that doesn't sound weird, being able to throw an exclusive Turtles book, which Nick did the coloring on the cover, like being able to throw that out with your logos on it. I mean, that prints inside every copy shipped worldwide. So when people open that book, the first thing they see on the inside interiors is regular cover, retailer incentive, convention exclusive. So it was really cool to do that.
Well, and the cool thing with exclusive covers for conventions, too, plays to that idea of the old school comic convention. It's not just a gimmick. It's an actual book that's put out by Image or IDW or whatever that you have. That's a special book that someone can put in their collection that they got for going to that show. It's a nice tangible thing that is good for everybody. It's good for the show, for advertising. It's good for the collectors because they can get something that they could only get if they were there, and it's a lot of fun.
And we started to branch that out too. So last year was the first time we'd ever done independent exclusives. So Broken Icon did 3 covers last year using professional talent. We used Drew Moss, who works on a bunch of Image books, a bunch of IDW books, Copperhead being one of them, Blood Feud. he did an Ogden Falls variant for us. We did a exclusive of Among the Willows that Tommy Patterson, who did Game of Thrones, drew.
Yeah.
And then we did an exclusive of Ichabod, which is James Maddox, my business partner's book, that Daryl Banks, who did 100 issues of Green Lantern, did.
Yeah.
And Nick colored all of them. And it was the first time ever trying it, and it went so well that we're going to do it again this year.
I say that seems to be like when I talk to people that go to TriCon or anyone who even knows the name, that's one of the things that you hear a lot about is those convention exclusive covers. One of the other members of our podcast absolutely loves Army of Darkness, and when we presented him with that cover, he fell in love with it. So can I get a little bit of info about this year's cover?
Yeah, so we've got it. We're working on a couple, so we have 2 that's public right now, and I'll let Nick do the honors.
The first one is on my book, Rigel Rain. We've got Michael Main did a cover for me, and I'm coloring that one. I'm really excited about that one. It's a very, very cool cover.
And then we also have Among the Willows with Mark Kidwell, who did 68. Mark Kidwell is going to do a cover for 68, and we have a third one that hasn't been announced yet.
Okay. So, and then what is the date this year for TriCon?
So June 2nd, it's the first weekend, the first Saturday in June.
Okay.
It's, as it always has been, Big Sandy Superstore Arena in downtown. It's only $10 to get in. Kids under 10 are free. VIP packages, we still have a few left. We only sell about 100 of them because we give away a lot of stuff with our VIPs. Our VIPs come with free t-shirts, free VIP prints, free buttons, free totes, and 1 hour early access to the floor, and they're only $25. So, I mean, we have a lot of really cool stuff this year going on for Huntington. We got a lot of cool stuff coming back. We have the kit car. We have a West Virginia-built kit car that's coming to the show. We have Goblin Traders in Ironton, Ohio is going to be doing live gaming again, and we're going to have contests and tournaments at the venue again. And we're going to have a really nice big display from the Mandalorian Mercs from the Black Guard Division.
Oh, great. So, I'm going to try to bring it to a close here. So, everyone just heard that June 2nd in Huntington, West Virginia. Get your VIPs while they last. You get all sorts of cool shit. The exclusive comic for the convention, early access, anything that you could ask from an amazing con. Any info on what we can see in the upcoming years? Or are you guys like year at a time?
Right after the show ends, within the next couple weeks, we're going to start doing some really cool announcements for 2019. 2019 will be really awesome.
Yeah, but definitely expect we got more books already in the works, and our stuff just keeps getting better, and we got more creators coming on, and we can't wait to see what people think of it.
Okay, great. Thank you guys so much for meeting with me.
All right, thank you.
Awesome. Good interview, man. Yeah.
Yeah, they were great to talk to. He just seemed really friendly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and then I went in and talked to him a little later too, and he seemed a little busy, but he seemed nice. I liked him. So guys, I think that's going to do it for us on this episode. Of course, like this episode if you liked it. Subscribe if you love it. Comment your thoughts on any of today's stories. And of course, share this episode. I know you're not keen to like analytics and algorithms and stuff, but basically this is how it works. And I'm saying this for any page, not just our stuff. If you're cycling through and you see something you like it, because that is going to get it out in front of more people. And I could probably post to our Instagram like, this is what a post looks like when 13 people have been reached. Nobody liked it. Nobody paid attention to it. This is what it looks like when 2 people liked it. 200 fucking people reached. So yes, it is important when you like, when you comment. It matters. It gets it out in front of people. So
Absolutely.
Do that, share, all of that on social media. Do it. My name is Vincent Herman, Vin the Human.
James Odell, Alpha Spectre.
Bob Collins, Boba Fett.
And the outro music still got it. Yay! The outro music's got it. Yay!